everyone, and welcome to our presentation about presentations. Chapter 60, page 128. I'm Ponraksa, and my teammates are Jeffrey, Aaron, and Iso. Today, we will look into the types of business presentations, elements of a good presentation, and presentation tools and equipment. After that, we will demonstrate the concepts of the chapter by a little acting. Now, let's get started. First, let's take a look at the types of business presentations. Generally speaking, the goal behind every business presentation is to inform the listener of something. However, if we are being more specific, business presentations can also aim to persuade or sway the audience. For example, a presenter is presenting the pros and cons of investing in a new product in order to convince the audience that spending money in this area is a good idea. Other than that, business presentations can also be used to foster positive relationships between people within and outside of the organization, to make them feel recognized and valued, and so much more. So presentations can be done in many ways. In this presentation, we will only cover 5 types of business presentations that we can see every day. First off, we have press conferences. A press conference is where a company holds a meeting with journalists in order to inform and provide a room for outsiders' questions to be answered. Sometimes these questions are freely asked, while sometimes questions have to be reviewed by the public relations team before they can be asked. Less common is when no questions are permitted. The next type of business presentation is a demonstration. As the name says, a demonstration's purpose is to demonstrate or show the audience how things should or could be done. For example, the manager of a tech team demonstrates the new products used to the higher-ups of a company. Next is a product launch. This is when a company launches a new production line or a product and announce it. A product launch is usually informative and very public. A good example of this would be the Apple event that is held approximately twice per year by the CEO of Apple to announce the newest iPhones or iPads. Another type of business presentation is a workshop. Workshops are practical and relatively small events where people are arranged into groups to have discussions about certain topics. In workshops, the audience has more interactions with the presenters than in seminars. As previously mentioned, we have seminars. Unlike workshops, seminars are typically shorter and larger. They are also lecture-based, thus it is more one-sided than workshops. Moving on, we have the elements of a good presentation. A good presentation is considered well done by the way it is organized, delivered, and also the presenter's engagement with the topic. Perhaps one of the most important qualities of a good presentation is that it is well structured and easy to follow. This could be done by organizing ideas into a logical order and giving relevant examples, because many people learn better when there are stories and examples for them to feel connected to the topic. The presenter might also use appropriate tools to make the most out of the presentation. You can also use visual aids to make the presentation more vivid and interesting. We have a whiteboard to write or draw things with a marker at the time of the presentation when you want to show something you haven't prepared, like in the flip charts and the slides. With the flip charts, you flip, and with the slides, you control them with your laptop, and they are projected to the screen by a projector. You can also use a remote to control the slides. It would help save time and make you more professional. What might also be useful are informative handouts because the audience is able to both listen, go through the materials at their own pace, and make some notes along the way.
Nextly, the manner in which a presentation is delivered is very important to the engagement of your audience and the level in which they can absorb the material you are presenting. Things such as rapport, eye contact, and varying tone and intonation should all be taken into consideration. When presenting, or perhaps even beforehand, you should aim to build rapport with the people you are presenting to. The level of engagement here will, of course, depend on your audience. Are they your co-workers, potential clients, or simply attendees at a conference? Regardless of the relationship dynamics, a good presenter will attempt to build some sort of connection to their audience to become more relatable and pleasant in the eyes of their viewers. By simply remembering some audience members' names or simple facts about the place in which you're presenting, this can go a long way to building rapport. While you are delivering your presentation, there are a few key things that you should always be mindful of. Firstly is eye contact. Eye contact is a universal method of conveying sincerity, but also showing engagement with the person you're speaking with. Your eyes should casually be moving around the room, making occasional eye contact with the people in your audience. Just remember not to stare. Having a remote control for your projector or computer slides can help you become less hands-on with your presentation and allow you to utilize your time better by connecting with your audience. During your delivery, it is important that you speak with a loud enough voice and vary the tone and speed of your voice as well. In a small space, don't speak too loudly that people close to you are uncomfortable, but people in the farthest seats should be able to hear you adequately. Alternatively, in a larger space, you should consider the use of a microphone or headset in order to aid you in reaching all members of the audience. Almost, if not more important than having all of your listeners be able to hear you, however, is the variation of your tone and intonation. There is nothing more boring and draining than having to listen to a monotone presenter drone on and on with no change of pacing or intonation in their speech. You should aim to provide a dynamic range of speech where applicable, to keep listeners engaged in your content and prevent them from falling asleep or losing interest altogether. Nextly, the way that your audience views and perceives you should be considered while giving a presentation of any kind. What is the dress code for the event? Is it a casual affair or a suit and tie? A presenter should always aim to be slightly, but not too much, overdressed. They should look presentable and professional, but with a confident and relaxed look. If you are not comfortable or feel nervous on stage or during your presentation, the audience will pick up on these things and it may take away from your content. Dress well and exude confidence, even when you're not. Use your enthusiasm for the topic to sell your listeners to your perspective. With a positive attitude and delivery, the audience should become interested easily and you can begin to get them involved in you and your presentation, as opposed to simply sitting through it. A nice way to foster involvement can also be through the use of visual aids or handouts, something to connect the audience tactilely to your presentation. By taking these things into consideration while giving a presentation, your listeners will be more engaged with the content, more attentive of your message, and have a positive feeling towards you as the presenter.
Now let's take a look at the do's and don'ts of giving a good presentation. As KP mentioned earlier, there are various types of business presentations. Business presentations are highly significant because it allows companies to announce, motivate, and share ideas with an audience. It is also important because it allows companies to engage and communicate with their internal and external audiences effectively. However, as we all know, it's not easy to give a good presentation. To deliver a good presentation, the presenter must understand the importance of presentation skills. Without adequate presentation skills, it is difficult for a presenter to give a good presentation. So here we have a list of 6 do's and don'ts that will help you become a good presenter, improve your presentation skills, and provide better presentations in the future. Let's first look at the do's of presentations. When giving a presentation, the presenter should first rehearse before a presentation. Everything must be tested, edited, and timed before the actual presentation. If necessary, you can practice with a stopwatch to check the time limit. Rehearsing is crucial because not only can you boost your confidence, but also provide a better outcome. Secondly, vary the speed that you speak at. It is important to speak slower than usual when presenting to increase your listener's attention. Sometimes you can add pauses to emphasize your message. Thirdly, when giving presentations, avoid using words like you know, like, and other filler words. These words can distract the audience from your message and make you sound unprepared. Instead, try to pause for a few seconds to gather your thoughts. Next, dress professionally. Like it or not, your audience will judge you based on how you dress. If you're dressed in professional clothing, your audience will more likely focus on your presentation. You will also gain more self-confidence. Next, finish presentations on time. Remember that your presentation should fit the time limit you are given. Speaking over time is highly disrespectful and will annoy some members of your audience. Last but not least, ask questions to your audience at the end of your presentations. This will help you get your audience involved in presentations. Moving on, we'll take a look at a list of 6 don'ts of presentations. When giving a presentation, the presenter should not read the slides or the scripts word for word. Your audience will find it challenging to connect with your message. Secondly, presenters should not apologize for mistakes. The most common mistake among presenters is apologizing to their audience. Always keep in mind that the audience will never find out your mistakes unless you tell them. Apologizing can make you seem unprofessional, or worse, damage your reputation. Thirdly, presenters should not hide behind the laptop or podium, but speak boldly with a confident and relaxed look. Next, do not neglect body language. Try to use gestures, hand movements, and facial expressions to strengthen your message. Body language will enable you to convey your message more effectively, engage with your audience, make your presentation more dynamic, and make you look more confident and enthusiastic. Next, do not fidget with hands. Hiding, fidgeting, clasping, or keeping your hands in a pocket indicate that you're nervous, not interested, and unsure of what you're saying. This will make your audience feel disturbing and hard to connect to your presentation. Last but not least, do not look stiff or hostile. If you don't give your audience the sense that you are confident and enthusiastic about the topic, the audience will not remain attentive. Try to smile when you make eye contact with your audience, and keep your arm open to look more confident. Hopefully, this list will help to improve your presentation skills and deliver good presentations. Thank you.
Before we start, I would like to inform you that we have demonstrated one type of presentation, the product launch. As you are watching, please keep in mind the elements of good presentation introduced by KP and Jeff to better remind you of your understanding. Here we've got Iso, the CEO of Lee's Kitchen, getting ready for her product launch presentation. Since the presentation has to be informative and very public, she makes sure her ideas are well organized and her visual aids, flip charts, slides, and handouts are clearly structured, easy for the observers to follow. As she begins her presentation, she uses her laptop and projectors to display the screen and announce the new model of the fry pan. She introduces the new product and makes sure the presentation is precisely delivered by keeping a good rapport with the audience, keeping firm eye contact, with confident and relaxed look, making the presentation as much as enthusiastic by using her various tones of voices loud enough to be heard. In each transition during the presentation, Iso uses her remote controller to efficiently and professionally skip the slides. She also uses her whiteboard and marker to explain specific functions of the product. And by giving interesting examples and stories related to the product,
And did you know that fry pans?
she encourages the audience to stay involved.
Why is Europe like a frying pan? Anyone? It's because Greece is stuck at the bottom.
As the presentation comes to an end, Iso bears in mind to retain a positive attitude about her topic and concludes by allowing the audience to ask questions.
Are there any questions? Yes.
Showing that she is interested in their thoughts and minds.
Thank you for listening. To conclude our presentation, our group has discussed a few intriguing topics about creating a good presentation. Firstly, we have looked at the types of business presentations. Secondly, presentation tools and visual aids which help the presenters create and deliver effective presentations. We also looked at the do's and don'ts of presentations. Lastly, we looked at the elements of a good presentation and even demonstrated how to deliver a good presentation by using the elements we've discussed. So, we all know that giving a good presentation is not easy. But by putting our guide into practice, not only can you improve your presentation skills, but also deliver more effective, sensational presentations to your audience. So that was it for our presentation. Thank you for listening.